In my teenage years, I attended school in the Shelby County School District in Tennessee. Known for its affluence, the district often organized field trips. As a chorus member, we had annual trips, and during my sophomore year, we ventured to the Smoky Mountain Resort in Tennessee. The journey was long, but my friend Billy and I were excited, especially since we'd be roommates. Arriving in November, the resort was quiet, with the cold keeping most visitors away. Our 3-day itinerary was packed, but the chaperones gave us some freedom. Billy and I, along with 2 female friends, spent the first day enjoying activities like go-karting and rock climbing. As evening approached, we retreated to our ground floor room, which had a sliding door that opened to a serene view of a moonlit lake. However, our peaceful night was shattered when Billy, whose bed was closer to the door, let out a terrified scream. Turning, I was met with a chilling sight, a tall, elderly woman with unkempt gray hair pressed against our door, peering in. She soon disappeared into the night. We were shaken, but decided not to inform the chaperones, only sharing our ordeal with our 2 friends. The next night, we ensured the blinds were shut, but sleep was elusive. I awoke with an unsettling feeling and, to my horror, found the same woman looming over my bed. She whispered, "Your back door was unlocked," before retreating. Billy and I were petrified and spent the rest of the night awake. Morning couldn't come soon enough. But as we prepared to report the incident, we saw the woman in the neighboring room, sitting eerily still, accompanied by an equally unsettling older man. The resort staff, upon our insistence, confronted the duo but were hesitant to evict them. We learned the woman had mental health issues, and the man, possibly her caretaker, also seemed off-kilter. Their presence at a family resort was incongruous. Our chaperones, after heated discussions with the resort management, decided to cut our trip short. As we left, I caught one last glimpse of the woman, her gaze still hauntingly vacant. The experience was a stark reminder that appearances can be deceiving, and not every picturesque setting is free from shadows. In my 4th grade year, our class embarked on a field trip to a quaint rural zoo. The sky was overcast, occasionally releasing a raindrop. The zoo, though not vast, was tailored for children, housing mostly smaller, non-exotic creatures. A significant part of the attraction was a large building showcasing taxidermied animals and other exhibits. I was an odd child, often lost in my world and occasionally acting out in antisocial ways. On this trip, I impulsively wandered into a restroom without notifying any teacher. Emerging from it, I found myself alone in a dimly lit corridor with deep red carpets. The sight of the lifeless animals behind glass cases stirred my young imagination. My heart raced when I noticed a man seemingly hiding behind a stack of chairs. Naively, I assumed he was playing a game. He approached, asking about the group's whereabouts. Before I could process the situation, he firmly grasped my hand, leading me towards an exit. The door opened to a secluded area with dumpsters, trevishes, and the looming woods. His grip tightened and he began dragging me towards the trees. My heart pounded and a sickening fear gripped me. But before I could react, a teacher's scream pierced the air. The man released me, fleeing into the woods. Moments later, several teachers rushed to my side, pulling me back to safety. They were a mix of anger and concern, scolding and comforting me simultaneously. The trip was cut short, the police were called, and we boarded the buses to return home. As my bus pulled away, my eyes caught a chilling sight. The same man was lurking in the woods, peering out from behind a tree, watching us. I remained silent, perhaps out of fear or shock. The ride home was filled with whispered conversations and curious glances in my direction. I shuddered at the thought of what could have happened and hoped that no other child would ever encounter that sinister man. In high school, I enrolled in a course that delved into unsolved mysteries and eerie tales. Though the exact name of the class escapes me, my fascination with the unknown drew me in. My close friend, whom I'll refer to as Travis, was also in the class. Our instructor organized a field trip to an abandoned village nearby, shrouded in mystery. Built in the early 1900s, it seemed to have been hastily deserted soon after its establishment. The journey to the village was a brief 20 minutes, but the anticipation made it feel longer. As our bus trudged along a neglected road cutting through a dense forest, we finally reached a clearing. The sight was haunting. Ancient brick structures with boarded windows surrounded by overgrown grass. Our task was to apply our classroom learnings to uncover the village's secrets. While the group was being led to an old church, Travis and I, driven by curiosity, veered off towards the tallest building. We discovered a makeshift entrance, a hole leading to the basement. With the aid of our phone flashlights, we descended. The basement was unsettling, with remnants of recent human activity. A wooden staircase beckoned us to explore further. The upper floor was a maze of small rooms, shrouded in darkness. Just as we decided to leave, a sound echoed from one of the rooms. Our lights revealed 3 figures standing in a peculiar formation, as if expecting us. Their silent, eerie gaze sent chills down our spines. We fled, rejoining our group, panting and shaken. We confided in a classmate but kept our discovery from the teacher. As we left, a face peered from an unboarded window of the tall building, intensifying the mystery. Travis theorized that the figures were spirits of the village's past residents. I'm still haunted by their silent, expectant stares. One day I might return to the village, hoping to debunk Travis's ghostly theory. I gotta get this off my chest. It was our senior year, and our class was headed on a field trip. We were all pumped, singing songs, cracking jokes, and just being typical high schoolers. The bus ride was long, but we didn't care. We were having the time of our lives. But then, everything changed. The bus started slowing down, and we could see a car stalled in the middle of the road. It was blocking our path. Our bus driver, Mr. Thompson, decided to check it out. We watched from the windows as he approached the car. That's when we saw it, blood dripping from the car door. It sent chills down my spine. Mr. Thompson ran back to the bus, his face pale. He tried calling for help, but there was no signal. We were in the middle of nowhere. We were all scared, whispering among ourselves, trying to figure out what was going on. Then, out of the woods, a woman appeared. She had blood dripping from her head, her clothes torn. She looked like she had been through hell. Some of the students wanted to help her, but Mr. Thompson was hesitant. He didn't want to let her on the bus. But there was one student, Jake, who was adamant about letting her in. He argued with Mr. Thompson, saying we couldn't just leave her there. Eventually, Mr. Thompson gave in, and the woman boarded the bus. The atmosphere changed instantly. The woman sat at the back, not saying a word. We all watched her, our eyes darting back and forth. She looked at us with a cold, dead stare. It was unsettling. Hours passed, and the tension on the bus was palpable. We were all scared, not knowing what was going to happen next. Then Jake stood up and walked to the back of the bus. He whispered something to the woman, and they both started laughing. It was a chilling, maniacal laugh. Jake then revealed the truth. The woman was his mother. They had planned this whole thing to teach us a lesson. Jake had been bullied throughout high school, and he wanted revenge. He wanted to scare us, to make us feel the fear he felt every day. The rest of the trip was a blur. We were all in shock, trying to process what had just happened. When we finally got back to school, Jake and his mother were taken away by the police. They were both charged with multiple crimes. It's a reminder that actions have consequences and that bullying can push someone to the edge. It's a lesson I'll never forget.